Good afternoon, everybody. It is the afternoon, just about. It's about 12:30 now. It's Monday afternoon, and I've come out down the River Avon, as you can see behind me. It's a stretch I don't fish very often. In fact, I haven't been in the club that controls this for a couple of years. I tend to rotate my tickets. There's so many good tickets in this area. I tend to rotate my tickets because if I join all the clubs, I just don't get a chance to use all the tickets. So I do rotate them around a little bit. So yeah, we're in this club this year, and yeah, thought I'd come down now. Stuff's starting to die back, sort of middle of November. Finally, we're getting some cold weather. Stuff's dying back a bit, as you can see, and the weed in the river's dying back a bit as well, which means I can do a bit of trotting on this stretch. Now, I've come out with a very simple approach today. I've got some bread with me, some mashed bread and some maggots, and that's it. And I've got my trusty trotting rod, my 15-foot Daiwa Tournament Pro, and coupled with that 506 Mark II close face reel, a Drake alloy stemmed stick float there with a semi-dome top on to support a bit of bread flake. That's going to be my main bait of today, of choice. I think if we're struggling, we'll perhaps go on maggots, but going to this first swim, perhaps have a wander about as well. I'm not going to necessarily stick in one swim, but what's prompted me to come out is the river's a nice level and it's very, very dull and overcast. I'm not sure if it'll come out on the camera with the automatic exposure, but it's very dull and overcast. It's cracking down. There's not hardly a breath of wind, which is not great, but it's great for control, for presentation. Anyway, that's enough waffle, isn't it? Let's get down here, let's do a bit. So I've just been trickling some mashed bread in here for the last few minutes, trying to get my rod sorted out. It's rather clear, unfortunately, the river, but we'll have a go anyway. You never know with it being overcast, but saying that, it's clouds are clearing up a bit. It's typical story of my life. I go out when it's cloudy, and by the time I get cast in, the sun's out, but it's not supposed to get any brighter really today, so we'll have a go anyway. Now, as I mentioned, I've not fished here for a few years, so it's a bit suck it and see really. The water's going through at a nice pace, I have to say that much. I'm not sure about depth or how much weed there's going to be left in the water or anything really, so we'll find out, I guess. That is going through at a nice pace. As I should mention, there's a couple of more anglers on this stretch actually, and as I was walking up the field I saw them walking that way, so they may well have been fishing some of these swims already. So maybe a bit of a struggle. We'll find out. First kingfisher of the day. See so many kingfishers these days, fantastic. Quite a nice long run in this swim. A bit of a dip on the float there. I'll keep this bread going in. Yeah, lovely long run, 40 metres I should think. Possibly go even further than that. The good thing is we've not dragged under from any weed. There's a lot of streamer weed in this stretch, and we've not dragged under from any streamer weed yet, so that's good. This stretch gets fished quite a lot by barbel anglers. Quite a lot of pellet goes in here. It's the sort of place where the chub, which obviously we're targeting today, chub and roach, really, but chub primarily. It's the sort of place they get nice and big. So it'd be wonderful to have a few big chub out. I'm not sure, the water does look very clear. Maybe a bit tricky. We'll give it a good go though. Perhaps give it half an hour, 45 minutes in here. We'll make a move if we're not doing any good. No bites as of yet. Certainly nothing to strike at. The odd dip on the float, it's just dipped under there. I'm not sure if it's just tripping some weed or it's small fish. I tend to wait for a second or two, and if it doesn't pop back up, then I'll strike. Trouble is as well, when you've had a few dips on the float, you don't know if you've been mugged and your bread's gone. And of course it comes off every time anyway, so you really don't know whether you've been mugged. Let's go tiny on, just an inch in deeper really. Just going a few inches deeper until it's properly dragging bottom. It's not a major problem fishing mid-water if we're targeting chub and running lots of mashed bread through. It doesn't necessarily sink right to the bottom, but I'd imagine the chub are more likely to be sat near the bottom with this much clarity. Well, probably sat in the tree roots. Not out in the river at all, possibly. May just be a little bit too much clarity today. It's probably 3 foot of visibility, I should think. Yeah, we're dragging bottom now, I'm sure. Just went under there and popped back up. Nah, nothing to it. Time for a move, I think. Well, it was along here. Just on that fish top. Along here somewhere. Only just one dimple. And it might not have been a big fish, but you never know. It's worth 5 or 10 minutes. Yeah, that water is quite clear. I think we're going to be up against it today. This place just doesn't fish generally. When I say this place, I mean the Avon. When it's this clear. I walked the dog by the Avon by home this morning. It was a lot more coloured than this. But I'm the other side of Stratford, so I'll possibly explain it. It's not clear, crystal clear, but yeah, I can see a good 4 foot down. Unfortunately, that's really not great. Can be just impossible. Fish just disappear. I think we may have picked the wrong tactic today, or the wrong stretch. Perhaps I should have stayed by home. You never know, we'll see. We'll keep at it. It takes 1 or 2 bites. Can have a couple of cracking fish and job done. Nothing doing. On to the next. Blimey, it won't take long. As I said, probably need to find the cover. Literally just cast it in. Blimey. Oh, he's really, really, really desperate to get in that cover. I've only got a 2.5 pound bottom on. Oh, he's turned in. Oh, gets in there, we've had it. God, straight away. Oh, blimey. I thought I had the bottom. Literally just cast in. A nice chub. Oh, well, that's the bite we came for. We can get him in. I think we've beaten him. Cool, blimey. A cracker. God, blimey. Oh, wonderful. How's about that? Fantastic. That's the bite we came for. Wonderful. Lovely winter. Well, late autumn, early winter condition. Big fat belly. As I was saying, the Barber boys do put some pellet in here. Well, that's great. Right, I'm going to keep him in the net because that was literally not only first cast, I just dropped the bait in. Fab. Right, we'll keep him in the net. In the edge. Well, as I was saying, it doesn't take long when you're in the right place. I did say I thought we might need to find some cover, didn't I? Blimey. Literally just dropped in the water. Went straight under. I thought it was the bottom. No. Wonder whether we can get another one out. Can often be the tricky bit. What usually happens is he's now scared all his mates and they've all cleared off back into there. Never to be seen again. Well, not today anyway. But you never know. I think this is probably the banker swim on the stretch. So we'll give it a few minutes yet before we decide we're beaten. I say I've got him in the net down here. It's really deep in the edge here. So it's not a problem. Some days you can get multiple takes in a swim. And they're really, really having it. But they're certainly not really having it today. Oh, very messy stuff, this bread mash. But it's so effective. Fishing it with flake. Just let that big cloud run through with all the big particles in it. And then a bit of bread flake just behind. Can be deadly. Ooh. Well, we had some knocks down the bottom of that swim there. I think it was smaller fish. But yeah, it seems like a decent peg. Well, the sun is breaking through again, or trying to. Not sure I'm going to give it too much longer. It's just a quickie session. And done what I wanted to be honest. Had a cracking fish. We'll give it a little bit longer, but I think if that sun comes out, we've really had it. Right, I'm going to call it a day there. We'll get this fella back and we'll going to try, I think, one more swim. Right, let's get this fella back. So I've had a walk up and down and there's not really any more swims with any cover apart from on the bottom. And there's two other anglers down there, so I'm not going to go and tread on their toes. So I've come back to the swim we started in, just given that obviously we baited it up a bit earlier. So I'm hoping perhaps some fish have come out. It's been, I don't know, probably best part of an hour since we were in here. So it's effectively been baited up for an hour. I'm just hoping perhaps that's got some fish on the feed. It's a lovely run through here. couple of years ago I seem to remember trotting in here and having a few chub out. Thought it looked a bit familiar. The water was up a bit more that day though, certainly a bit more coloured. We'll give it perhaps 10 or 15 minutes in here, I think, before we call it a day. Sun's trying to break through as well. I think we're probably done. I need to get off, really. It's only sort of 2-hour session anyway, because school run today. Let's have another bite though, wouldn't it? Not really ideal conditions. Certainly the overcastness was perfect. Overcastness, is that a word? The overcastness was perfect, but yeah, the river clarity, unfortunately nothing like down by me, by my house. There it's about 2 foot visibility, here is about 4, I'd say. It's just too clear. No, I'm going to call it a day of that. Had 10 or 15 minutes back in this swim, but nothing doing. Too clear, unfortunately, the water's too clear for any action in the middle of the day, really. Never mind, I had a very enjoyable, good hour and a half down here. Really enjoyed that. Nice to have a bit of a rove about and a stretch on fish for quite a while, and yeah, we had that cracking chub out as well. Can't moan at that. That's absolutely wonderful. Now I am going to be out later on in the week, but for now, thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed that. Tight lines, enjoy your own angling if you get out there. Many thanks to the channel patrons for your wonderful support. And I'll see you all again very soon.